I've never, ever been as lonely as I am the last 2 years, ever. The days aren't too bad, but I hate the nights. I can't honestly say I've had a good night's sleep for years now. For years he'd worked overseas in the oil industry without any qualifications whatsoever. He was a radiographer on the pipelines, loved his Newcastle football. He was a very kind man, but he was also my friend. It was October time. He said, I'm going out to sweep the leaves up, and we've got a couple of steps that go up to our summer house veranda. He went out there, and it was 1:30, and I heard this almighty yell. I went running out there, and he was flat on the ground out there. But he'd fallen and obviously hit his head. The next morning when we got up, again I got my cup of tea at normal time, and I came down, and his words weren't coming out right. Most peculiar, he was sort of back to front, and we got taken to Farnborough. And in the end, they said he was being transferred to King's College, and this was something like 1 o'clock in the morning. Got the operation at 5 o'clock that night. We mentioned to the nurse that he had naproxen for his arthritis. She went and ordered it on his note saying, Doctor, please could you prescribe naproxen? Patient has this at home for arthritis. But the fact he wasn't actually walking, he didn't need them. The doctor didn't check why were they being asked for. The pharmacist didn't check with the doctor. And that's when it started going wrong. George Robson died as a result of bleeding from a duodenal ulcer which developed whilst an inpatient at KCH. He had been prescribed naproxen for approximately 1 month without a proton pump inhibitor, in brackets PPI. The failure to prescribe a PPI while administering naproxen materially contributed to the formation of the ulcer and the subsequent death. That failure amounted to neglect. So I thought I'd better let them know that he's died and what's happened. Phoned them up, spoke to the secretary and explained to him. He said, it sounds to me as though you need to take this further because something's wrong. I said, I know it's wrong. I said, but I don't know what to do about it and I don't have the money for it. He said, you don't have to. He said, I will email you the details of AvMA. And that's how I found out. The total relief that somebody was taken over that knew what to do, knew how to do it, and that hopefully in the end I was going to get the right outcome for George, that I was going to find out and prove that they'd done these things wrong, because I knew what they'd done but I couldn't prove it. And when you get it's called a narrative verdict, and he said he was doing this narrative verdict and that he'd actually written down that it was neglect and gross failure against King's College for the way that George was treated, and that's actually on the death certificate now, that's how he died. There was almost a gasp went up because I think some of the King's College people were still sitting behind me. That's not the verdict that we expected, but it was the best outcome we could possibly have had. It really was. Why can't they just come out and say, sorry, we've made a mistake? Instead of doing all that, instead of putting everybody through that, because it's not just the cost to me and my family and his family, it's the cost to themselves and to the NHS. I just hope and pray that something good comes out of it.